What's up, everybody? My name is Zaino, and today I'm here with the amazing chef Jordan Wolf.
What's up, guys? Happy to be here.
We're going to talk a little bit about astrology and go through some Q&A with you guys. So let's get started.
Let's do this. Total Gemini here.
Right. So what is your big three?
My big three is Gemini Sun, Aries Rising, Libra Moon. So
Amazing.
double air and fire. What's your big
So
three?
hot air.
Hot air, yeah. Hot air, yeah.
I am a Virgo Sun, Leo Rising, and Gemini Moon.
Amazing. Double Mercury and Sun.
Double Mercury and Sun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. For those that don't know what big three is, how can you explain it in a way that's easy to understand and why it's important for us to find out, the big three of those that are in our life and ourselves?
So you've got the rising, the sun, and the moon. And these are the three most important placements in astrology. Because you've got the sun and the moon. Those are the two luminaries, so the brightest things in the sky. And you've got the whole solar system revolves around the sun. So the sun is the most important. The second is actually the rising sign.
Okay.
The rising sign is the sign that's coming up over the horizon when we're born. So over the eastern horizon, and at every 2 hours, the Earth rotates 24 hours in a day. So every 2 hours, a new rising sign comes up over the horizon.
Okay.
So the rising sign used to be the most important sign in ancient astrology, and then in modern astrology, they've subscribed that to the sun. And so the rising sign, good place to start, because this is it represents our birth too. It's like the whole chart represents the life process. So the rising sign is how we are born into new phases of life. So it represents how we go into new phases, how we go into new jobs, new relationships, how we actually move through life. You had said something about it. We were talking earlier. You said it represents how we do.
It's kind of like the packaging. When you give someone a gift, it's like the outside,
Perfect.
what they initially will see. And then you have like the inside, which is like the moon, the sun, all that.
That's great. So it also to jump on that, it also represents how others see us and how we see the world, the lens we see the world.
Okay.
And I also see it as like the energy that goes through us. So like, I'm an Aries rising. I have a lot of energy. I don't need to sleep. I just like move through life very quickly. You're a Leo rising.
Leo rising, yeah.
So we're fire rising. So we move through life with a lot of like fire and energy. A Taurus rising is going to move through life slower and more intentionally. And then the sun represents our conscious mind and our vital life force energy. So the sun is our essence. It's the most, it's where we get the most light from. So it represents our inner, it's like our heart, it's like our main wiring is the sun. So the sun is the most important, the rising second, and then the moon represents our emotions, how we react instinctually to things, and it also represents the mother too. So the mother, which is how we view our mother, how we nurture others.
The moon.
So the moon, the moon, sun, and then the other planets. You've got all the other planets that make up the totality of our
the natal,
of our
the whole chart. You kind of need the whole chart to really figure out like the compatibility, for example, right, between two people and all that. I also, about the moon, I heard that it's like a way that we process our emotions or how we kind of relate to our emotions. Is that true?
Yes.
Did you say that's true? Okay. Yeah. So how would you say is an easy way to explain how astrology works for people that don't know like much about astrology?
Well, I think it's important to give a little brief history on astrology. Astrology has been the stars have been mapped and studied for at least 30,000 years on this planet. There's artifacts in Göbekli Tepe, which is Turkey, right? Which is where you're from. Is that how you say that?
Turkey, yeah.
Göbekli Tepe.
I actually don't know.
It's one of the most ancient ruins. It dates back 26,000 years, which was when the Great Flood in the Bible was said to have happened. And so basically, it's there's the astrological symbols are carved on these walls in these ruins. So
Oh wow.
it's yeah, astrology's been around forever, and our ancestors, our distant ancestors, they based their whole life around astrology. They built massive pyramids, megaliths according to the stars, all in alignment with the stars. So
Oh wow.
super important, super important. And the information they collected is the lineage of what we study and know about astrology today. So that's super cool. And so how it works, like the dynamics of it, nobody really knows why and how it works. We have theories, but there's a saying, as above, so below, which is often referencing like the things in the spirit world reflect the things in this physical realm. And astrology is the best example of that. It's basically like a mirror in the sky reflecting what's going on below. And
so when you were born, is that like the blueprint of like the energies that influence you, like in your character and your personality? Like how would you explain that and how it influences our being, our essence, our energy?
yeah, it's definitely a
like
blueprint.
The whole natal chart, you know?
That's a great way to put it. Definitely a blueprint. It's the moment we're born, we have a imprint from the universe on our soul. I don't know where it's imprinted, but it's seemingly on our soul and our consciousness that shapes our behavior, our life path, and our character throughout our whole life. And the birth chart will always be there. It's like you said, it's our wiring, it's our blueprint. So, what was the second part of the question?
Like how does it influence us?
Okay, so the signs the planets are in shape our character. The aspects of the planets, which is how the planets are arranged in accordance with each other. So if the planets are 90 degrees from each other, it's a square. If they're lined up, it's a conjunction. If they're opposite, it's an opposition. If they're 120 degrees from each other, it's a trine. So all these different angular aspects determine our behavior in life. And then the houses the planets are in determine our life path and the things that we experience in life.
And there's 12 houses, right?
Yes, 12 houses, 12 signs.
12 signs, 12 houses.
12 is a sacred number. You see 12 reoccurring all throughout the spiritual world and science. 3 is like the Trinity. So 3 is what's your life path number?
I think it's 3.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's awesome.
3.
Do you know your Chinese zodiac?
I think it's a horse.
Oh, cool.
What about
monkey?
Monkey. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm a Gemini, number 3 monkey. So that's all. They all say the same thing. Talk a lot, creative. What's your big 3?
So my big 3 is Virgo and Moon in Gemini and Leo rising.
Awesome.
Yeah. And how does the big 3, like what is it important to look for the big 3 when you meet people? How is that important information for us to use when we meet someone or connect with someone or even in dating?
So they say the rising is what you see first of somebody. Okay. So it's like the
initial.
Yeah, it's the initial energy that we see in somebody. So it's like because it's the rising sign is a sign that's coming up over the horizon when we're born. So it's a sign coming into view. Oh. So that's like the first look that we see of somebody is like what is just coming into view. And the rising sign, so they say it's what we see, the lens we see the world through, and how other people see us. My favorite aspect of the rising, which is something that I never really hear anybody talk about. I've heard it mentioned in one book. What was it? It's a book on the houses. It's a great book. The title's slipping my mind, but he says that the rising sign is how we go into new phases of life, which is
that's how we enter new phases.
Enter new phases. So but also it's how we move through life. So it's like because we're always entering every moment's like a new moment, and we're always entering a new phase of life. Literally every second of life, we don't know what's going to happen in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like we have no which goes back to the whole free will thing. I don't think we have any free will, and astrology has proven that over and over to me. We can't even control what's going to happen in 2 seconds. You know, like anything could happen. We have no control over anything, and it's the worst. It's the hardest thing for the ego to accept and to even hear that we have no free will, because the ego's fuel is free will. So we'll get into that. We'll get back into that. But the rising is how we move through life, how we go into new phases, how we go into new relationships, how we go into new jobs. Any new thing we're moving into, the rising is what fuels us. So I'm Aries rising. So I'm supposed.
What's your big three?
Gemini sun, Aries rising, Libra moon.
Okay.
A lot of hot air.
I love it.
Hot fire and air. 100% exhibit. I feel mostly Aries and Gemini. The moon is our subconscious.
Okay. So the moon, so the rising is more of like the initial, like how people perceive you. I've also heard of it as like the packaging, like in a gift, right? Like if you give someone a gift, the outside, like how it's wrapped, how it's delivered,
that's
how it's,
perfect. I love
so like
that.
that's like the initial, but then what's inside is the moon, right? Like the moon is the emotions.
Yes.
From what I like know. Can you explain more about that?
So the moon, it represents our subconscious, mind, our emotions, and it also represents our instinctual nature. So it's how we react instinctually before the sun and the rising kick in. So I had a situation in New York City. I'm a Libra moon, so my first instinct is to make peace. But I'm also Aries rising, which is like the warrior, and like you shouldn't really F with an Aries rising, like we're very reactive. So it's like they're opposite. The rising and moon are opposite. But in New York City, it's so funny. Every time
they are exact opposites. Yeah. What is it called when they're opposite sign? It's
the axis.
There's axis. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's
when it's the complete opposite, like Virgo, Pisces, Aries, Libra.
They call it an opposition.
Sign.
But it's on the same axis. So even though they're opposite, they're still connected. So your opposite is Pisces. So you so much in common with Pisces, Virgo and Pisces, but very different at the same time. Right. You always see Virgo and Pisces matching up. My best friend is a Virgo. His wife is a Pisces. You always see Virgo and Pisces matching up. So that's the axis of service. So there's themes for every axis.
Oh, okay.
I would say the axis for definitely themes. This might have been something I made up, but I think I've heard this elsewhere.
But that makes a lot of sense.
But Virgo, Pisces, the axis of service, because they're all about service. Gemini, Sagittarius would probably be the axis of information, because we love information. Both of us, Aries and Gemini and Sagittarius. Okay, so the moon. So the moon in New York City, I had a situation where somebody came up and just screamed in I lived in New York City for 4 years. Somebody came up and screamed in my face, and it's interesting. Every time I've been like learning about a specific astrological concept, something happens immediately after that.
Just like test it or
100%. So I was reading about the moon. I used to read on Kindle. I hate Kindle, but in New York on the subway, it's better than trying to flip through a book. You can sit there on the subway when it's like shoulder to shoulder. You can't move on the subway.
And you have like multiple choices.
10,000 people in a little subway car, but you can still read, and like people watch everything, which is great. So Gemini. And so I was reading about the moon, and then I walked out about how we react instinctually. I walked out of the subway, and somebody came up and screamed in my face. And like the moon is what happens before we think, like how we just react. And my reaction was like, whoa, let's make peace. And then I'm like, and then like a split second later, I'm like, there's somebody screaming in my face. I had to get him out of my face. So it's interesting how. So your moon is Gemini.
In Gemini.
So your reaction would be to, let's like talk it out. Let's like, because Gemini is all about communication. Your reaction would be to, it would be like similar to Libra. It would be like, let's diffuse this like with words, let's be rational and let's discuss this and let's end this
so
situation.
When does, after that initial like subconscious moon reaction, what kicks in after, the sun sign or the rising, or?
It was the rising for me, because I was like, there's somebody in my face. I needed to get him out of my face, like just screaming. I'm like, what is going on? It was so crazy. And then, so Aries moon would probably headbutt the person, because Aries
It's
is
just like
ruled by the
react.
head. Aries,
It's just
if you scream in an Aries moon person face, you're gonna get hurt because they are like. I love Aries moon. It's my favorite. It's my favorite moon. They're so wild and so feisty. God, Aries moon are great, but it's usually
I love Aries.
a very unlunar sign. Like Aries is a very one of the supposed worst signs for the moon, but I love it because they're so wild. Okay, so you got the moon.
The moon, the rising, and then the sun.
The sun is our conscious mind. The sun is like our essence, like who we are. So the sun is the most important. Previously, the rising was the most important. In like ancient astrology, the rising was the most important. And then it was subscribed to the sun being the most important. And I mean, everything works together, so it's like you can't really. But I would say that the sun is the most. The sun and then the rising are the most prominent, most noticeable energies in people. Wow. And then in Vedic astrology, the North Node is very important.
So in a basic way, like in a very simple, easy for people to understand way, how do you explain the South Node and then the North Node?
So the nodes aren't even a real point. Like it's not even a real thing, but it's so important. There's a book called Astrology for the Soul. Amazing book. There's like 30 pages on each person's on the 12 north nodes. Extremely powerful and accurate. It's so accurate.
What does it mean, like, for people that don't know? What is the South Node and what is the North Node?
So the North Node is it looks like a horseshoe in the glyph is like a horseshoe with two little like circles at the bottom, and then the South Node is the opposite. It's upside down. It's like a U. So the North Node is a theoretical point. It's where the moon crosses the ecliptic. And the ecliptic, it's really great to understand like the astronomy behind astrology. Yeah. And this is where I feel like a lot of astrologers don't really like me myself, I never get out and look at the stars under a telescope. I would love to do that more. I haven't done that a lot. But I every time they're there, I always know what planets are, which planets I'm looking at. But so the ecliptic is the band that the planets follow. So imagine we have the Earth's equator. Imagine if you take that equator and expand it out into the universe. It's going to be like a band that like almost like a ring around the planet. Okay. So the planets all follow the same line, which is the ecliptic. Okay. So they all follow the same band out in the sky. And so the North Node is where the moon crosses the path of the ecliptic. And so it's a theoretical point, seemingly not a big deal from like a physical perspective, but it's very, very powerful. So what the North Node is, it says that if we follow the energy of the sign of our North Node, we reach our soul's destiny and our like higher purpose in life. And so, but it's connected to the South Node, which I think this is evidence that we should be looking more at polarities in astrology. Like you're a Virgo sun. What about the opposite degree in Pisces? Like right. what is how does that influence the sun? Because everything's connected. And so the North Node, if we go to the energy of the North Node, we reach our soul's higher purpose. It's a key to one of the keys to unlocking our chart. And it's but the South Node is connected. So the South Node represents like our default.
It's the opposite sign, and it's like past life, right? So it would be the South Node would be kind of like the energies that we were coming from. Yes. From our either past life or past. And then the North Node is the future, like our destiny.
100%. Okay. Yeah, so it's like where we've been and where we're going. Okay. And when we're not in a state of progression and like when we're not moving towards our souls, there's a saying like if you're not moving towards God, you're moving away from God. Yeah. That's a great metaphor for the North Node. If you're not moving towards your North Node, you're moving towards the South Node. So when we're not in a state of progression, we default to the South Node energy.
The South Node.
And we're really not supposed to be in the South Node energy because that's not what it's like we're climbing a mountain towards the North Node, then we slide back down towards the South Node. So the South Node, when we exhibit the shadow qualities of our South Node, that's a great sign that we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing in life. So my North Node is Leo. Your North Node is Aquarius. So our North Nodes are opposite.
Right. We're in complete. That's so funny. Yeah.
So that says that I'm supposed to be doing this type of thing, being in front of the camera, and it's not something I want to do. I'm not like, but it's not something I don't want to do either. Like I have no.
Because Leo, just a little bit about Leo. They love to be in the spotlight, kind of their center of attention, fire energy. So it's like, here I am, here, yes, right?
Ruled by the sun.
Ruled by the sun,
the
which
brightest
is like shining and giving, and it's just like good energy and. Yeah, and then Aquarian is how is that? The Aquarius energy, how is that like different from the Leo energy as far as like that?
They're very different. Probably the two most different oppositions, the two most different axis signs. It's very different energy. So Aquarius is very generally. Well, there's two versions of Aquarius. You've got the Uranian because. Aquarius has two rulers. You've got Saturn, which is the traditional ruler, which is really the only ruler I give it. But then it also has a modern ruler of Uranus. So you see often two kinds of Aquarius. You see the very stoic, very like reserved, but also very quirky. Aquarius are so quirky.
Yeah.
I never understood Aquarius, and then I moved to New York City. And helped create this holistic health center, helped create a concept, build the menu.
I heard they're like none of them are similar to each other. They're all really unique.
They're all different.
It's like the one sign that you can't really describe. It's like they're all so different from each other. I mean, they have like a similar quality, but
they're all weird.
They're all weird.
And you want to give best compliment
in a good way.
Best compliment for an Aquarius, tell them they're weird. They love that. Tell them you're so interesting and you're weird. They love some signs. Well, that will ruin their day. But they love being called weird, and that's like such a great compliment for an Aquarius. In New York City, I created this menu, and it's what I went up there to create a menu and helped help build this holistic health center, and everybody in the place was Aquarius. There was like,
oh wow,
I think it was like 65% of the people there were Aquarius, and I never really understood Aquarius, and then through it.
They're kind of hard to understand.
They're very difficult to understand, yeah, because they're ruled by Saturn. Saturn originally was the most outer planet, so it's out on the, it's like out, it's out there.
It's out there,
and it's cold and it's very far away, and so back to the North Node, South Node. So yeah, so this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be telling everybody what I'm doing and sharing my creative energy and like information. Every time I do that, I help people, but it's not something because we don't really want to do the North Node stuff. You got to
push yourself to kind of like do that because it's not natural. It doesn't come naturally.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's not something we want to do, but we're good at it and we're okay doing it.
Yeah.
So so when I default to South Node Aquarius stuff, that means that what's the word? God, I just drew a blank. When you're isolating, very, very Aquarian. Like I'm gonna go like away and like just do my thing, like learn stuff, read, make music. Like we love our like alone time, like doing creative stuff. And our Aquarius's archetype is like the scientist, they're very creative, the inventor, the scientist. So
that's kind of like for me as a North Node is what I need to kind of work on doing.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So North Node Aquarius, I would say that Aquarius is very community based.
Be more.
Yeah. Be more. Yeah. Be more weird. Be more your authentic self, which I feel like you do very well. But yeah, also Aquarius is very community based, where Leo is very ego based, and like this is about me. So North Node Aquarius, it's saying that you should be out in the community, doing things, and doing your
like serving humanity through community, through like helping
and in an authentic, in your own way, marching to your own beat. That's very much an Aquarius thing. Aquarius have to be. They're known as the rebel. Okay, so there's two types of Aquarius. You have the Uranian type, which is the very energetic, very talkative. I know some wild Aquarius and very like like 2 different socks and blue hair. They're the sign that's most likely to tell you they're an alien.
Okay.
Like anybody ever tells you like, oh, I'm a star seed, I'm an alien, I'm actually from.
It's the Aquarius.
You're like, oh yeah, that's cool, and they're like, no, I'm actually from a different planet. Good chance it's an Aquarius. So that's the Uranian side of you, and maybe there's some that go back and forth. In my experience, they're either the Saturnian variety, which is the more stoic, the more like seemingly low energy, difficult to really
read. Understand. Okay.
I very rarely do you see them bounce back and forth, but so yes, that's a north node, south node. So we're supposed to be going. So again, this is very important. If you see the shadow side, the shadow characteristics of your south node coming up, that means that you need to recalibrate and adjust things to go back towards the south node.
To the south, yeah. Towards the north node.
Towards the north node, yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's take a quick break.
Cool. Let's drink some tea.
So now we're going to talk about the zodiac signs, which there's 12 of them, and we're going to go through the light aspects and the shadow aspects.
Awesome. So we'll start with Aries. So okay. Aries is a cardinal fire sign. The cardinal energy is the energy that gets things started. It's the first signs of the seasons. Okay. And the fire element is passion and it's like the all right, let me start this over.
No, you're fine.
Okay, so all right, so we'll start with Aries, and Aries is a cardinal fire sign. The cardinal signs are the first signs of each season. Okay. And they're great at getting things started, and they have a lot of starting power and a lot of energy. And then the fire element is the element of passion and life force. So Aries is the first sign of spring. They have a lot of energy. You can often hear an Aries coming from a mile away. They're very loud. They're like, it's like the bull in a china shop archetype. And so they have a lot of energy. They're very loyal. They're ruled by Mars. Mars is the planet of aggression. It's the planet of energy. So they have a lot of energy. They're known for being kind of like rambunctious. I'm Aries rising, so I love Aries. I love Aries energy.
Love Aries.
And so very loyal. They're very usually seen as simple, like they're not too complicated, very direct. The shadow side, they can be very impatient, and they can be argumentative and combative. So the whole reason I got into astrology, I dated 3 Aries back to back to back, born April 6th, April 5th, April 6th. 12 years consecutively, 3 dogs, live with these women back to back to back. Never saw the pattern until the end, and that's what got me into astrology. So big fan of Aries, even though they drive me crazy.
Because I know Gemini, Aries are good compatibility.
Great compatibility.
How long were those relationships? How long did they last?
The longest of the 3 was 3 years. Oh, wow. And then one was a year, and then a year off, and then another year. So yeah, wow. So it was
kind of long term.
Yeah, like the 3 serious. And actually, the first one was 3 years. The other one was 3 years, and then the other one was like 2 years with a year break. So, okay, so then you've got Taurus. Taurus is a fixed earth sign ruled by Venus. So the fixed signs are the signs that are in the middle of the season. So they're the energy, very grounded, very stable, very unmovable energy. And so, and the earth signs are about the comforts of life. So earth signs are very practical. They're usually good with money. They love nature. So Taurus is very dependable. They're very practical. They're good with money. They've got great style, great taste. They're ruled by Venus. So Venus is the planet of style and art. So they're usually very good, very artistic eye. They love the finer things in life.
Yeah,
Taurus love good
like
food.
Luxury and good food.
Good food, good wine. Taurus are all about the sensual things in life because that's Venus. So the shadow side of Taurus would be that they're stubborn and overindulgent. And then you got Gemini, the best. The fucking craziest, but the best.
The best mind.
So Geminis are a mutable air sign ruled by Mercury. Mercury was the messenger god in Greek mythology. It carried the information between the gods. So
love that. Yeah.
So Geminis, we love connecting people with information. We love connecting people with people. We love seeing patterns in life. So that's what really just blows my mind about astrology is all the patterns. And that's a great way for people to become believers, to look at their chart and go back through their life. There's so many patterns, and it's so crazy. It's like there's no way this is a coincidence.
Yeah.
It's 100% legit. It's real, and it's so useful and such a useful and valuable science.
Yeah.
So Gemini, mutable air ruled by Mercury. The mutable signs are the last signs of the season. So they take the season and change it into the next season. So where Gemini's the last sign. These are all the spring signs, the first three. So Gemini takes the spring and turns it into summer, being a mutable. Mutable means changeable and adaptable, not like quiet, because we're anything but quiet, the mutable signs. Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, and Sagittarius.
They're the mutable. Yeah.
They're mutable signs. So Gemini, the great qualities of Gemini, do we have like 10 minutes here? No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, 10 minutes?
Yeah, 10 minutes. Yeah. We might need to do a whole podcast. So Gemini, we're very creative. We're master communicators. We are the most creative, the best communicators. We are great friends. We're very smart.
All about the intellect. That's like a Mercury quality as well, right? Like
yes.
That's the
Yeah, so Mercury's
it's all about the.
That's a good point. Yeah, so Mercury's the planet of the mind. So the planet of, again, it was the messenger god. So it's a planet of information connection. Gemini's very smart. They say Aquarius is the smartest and Gemini is the second smartest. But I would say that Aquarius is more dedicated to the information. Where Geminis, we bounce around the information. Let's just put it on record. Gemini's the smartest. All right. No. Okay. The shadow side of Gemini is over communicating. Sometimes I talk so much my head hurts. I'm like, all right, I gotta shut up. And the other shadow side of Gemini, they say we're two-faced because Gemini is the sign of duality. We embody duality. They say Geminis have the easiest time in this physical incarnation because we're like not only like a fish in water, we're like the water in the water because we are duality. So that can manifest as being two-faced, which is, okay, so Geminis need an outlet for their duality. It's very important. If we don't have an outlet for our duality, it comes out in our personality. So Geminis, very creative. Geminis should all have at least 10 hobbies, creative hobbies, very important. And so, yeah, so that would be the shadow is over communication and like flip-flopping, like hot and cold. And also, I should say Gemini is a masculine sign. The air and fire signs are masculine signs.
Okay.
And the water and earth signs are the feminine signs. Oh. So you often see men with water sign and earth signs, they exhibit more of the shadow qualities of those signs. And the women with air and fire signs exhibit more of the shadow characteristics of those signs because it's not as like comfortable as energy for whatever gender has that sign.
That's so interesting.
And so okay, the next sign is Cancer. Cancer is a cardinal water sign ruled by the moon. So again, first sign of summer, water element, it's a very emotional. It's about the emotions, about feelings. They have to express their emotion. If water signs don't express their emotions, it comes out in usually violence or some type of negative thing.
Okay.
So Cancer, very nurturing, very such sweethearts. Sweethearts, very nurturing. They're very. It's the sign of the mother, so they're known for being the best nurturers in the zodiac.
Wow.
And the shadow quality of Cancer is like crybaby, because they're ruled by the moon. The moon rules the emotions because it moves so fast through the zodiac, and our emotions go from. Our emotions are the most impermanent part of our being. Like we'll be happy 1 second and then sad. So Cancer is ruled by the moon. And so that would be the shadow quality of Cancer is like crybaby, over emotional.
They like to be home. They don't really like to be. I heard they like to just be like in their shell, kind of like a crab.
Yes, that's yeah. So Cancers are often. My friend Steven, he says that Cancers are, or he says that Scorpios are Cancers in a leather jacket.
Scorpios.
We'll get that to when we get to Scorpio. But anyway, so yeah, Cancers are. They have a shell. So often they come across as really tough and hard. But if you stay around a Cancer for 10 minutes, they'll start crying at some point. Yeah, they're very emotional. And it may not be tears of like sadness. It just may be overwhelmed with like joy, or it's very emotional Cancers. Wow. It's like a waterfall, cardinal water. It's like a moving water. And then you've got Leo, which is fixed fire. It's the middle sign of the summer, the fixed sign of the summer, and it's ruled by the sun, and it's the lion. So Leo's quality is very loyal, like the lion, very always on time. Leos are always on time, very good with schedules. They're very dedicated, and they have a lot of they're great in front of the camera. They're great. They're always usually you see Leos in the public eye. They're very good in the public realm. The shadow side of Leo, egotistical, because they're ruled by the sun. The sun is the brightest thing in the sky, so it always has to be seen.
Wow.
If a Leo isn't being seen, that's not good for them. They always have to be seen and recognized.
So it's actually healthy for them to have like, I guess, being in the spotlight if it's like their career or something like that, because it helps them.
Yes.
They get that need met in a healthy way, I guess.
Absolutely. Instead of like being like narcissist or something like that, yeah. And then Virgo. So Virgo is a mutable earth sign ruled by Mercury, also ruled by Mercury, and its symbol is the Virgin. Its character is the Virgin. So it's the Virgin because Virgos are the natural editors of the zodiac. They're great at taking things, removing the wheat from the chaff. The chaff is what they CHAFFE. That means like taking the part that is unnecessary and leaving the important part. So Virgos are really good at that, and they are also very sweet. They're great friends. They're one of the love language for Virgos is often service. Like if you help a Virgo do something, they'll be your best friend. Like they love helping people and being helped. They're very much about that. And the shadow side of Virgo would be that they are critical, self-critical, and critical of others because their mind is constantly
looking for errors in a way.
Looking for errors. Yeah.
To help, actually, it's like I could speak because I could say that from my own life. It's like you want to perfect things. So it could be a shadow if you're like looking for negative things like in others or in situations. It's like a blessing and a curse because you see all of the details that other people don't see. But then it's like, okay, wait, I'm focusing too much on the negatives in order to make it like perfect. We're trying to perfect things.
Great take on that. And so that's interesting. You often see in astrology that it's two sides of the same coin, but the same thing can be a blessing and a curse. And that's all you see that all throughout astrology.
That's true.
Where
with
it's
other signs as well.
Where it's one like the best quality is also the other side of that quality is also the worst quality.
Yeah.
So okay, and then we've got Libra. Love Libras. I'm a Libra moon. So Libras are cardinal air sign ruled by Venus, and their symbol is the scales. So Libra is very artistic, very creative. They're very social, great communicators. They love to read because Libra, our language comes from astrotheological concepts. So Libra and book in Spanish is Libro.
Oh,
so Spanish Libras you'll always see Libras with a book. They love to read. And so Libra is good qualities, great communicators, very social, very smart, very creative, ruled by Venus. Their shadow side is they're known to be indecisive. And they say the worst question for a Libra is, where do you want to go for dinner?
Really?
Because they have a hard time making up their mind.
Wow.
But they're ruled by Venus. It's the other side of Venus. So the Taurus expression of Venus is more internal, more like about the good food, like what am I putting in my body? The Venus side of Libra, the Libra side of Venus is that they are very external. So they're known as being the best stylist. So it's very much like aesthetics. I can pick out Libra women so easily. Like they're so easy for me to spot.
Really?
Yeah, it's
how so? Like how do you?
I've got this thing. I don't know. I like guessing people's signs. And I would say I'm about at least 50-50 with Libras. Like anytime I asked somebody Libra, chances are I nailed it.
Wow.
But they're I noticed that Libra women often. So Venus has a dark side too.
So Venus, it's also Venus also rules Libra, so Libra and Taurus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
So Libra, how I spot Libra women is so interesting. They often have like dark makeup, but very stylish, but with like the dark eyeliner. And it's not like a Cancer where Cancers will be more like gothy. With the dark, like you see a Cancer with a dark line, they're gothy, but Libra always like, I don't know what it is. I can.
They are very feminine. Like my Libra girlfriends, they're all about like beauty and like, you know, the glamour and totally like makeup. They're usually really into makeup and hair, and so I can see why you can spot them because they have that, you know.
The selfie queens.
The selfie queens.
Yeah, Libra's Instagram, a lot of selfies. Okay, so then you've got Scorpio. Scorpio is a fixed water sign ruled by Mars, and its symbol is the scorpion.
Okay.
So Scorpios are very loyal. Like Scorpios will die for those people that they love. My mom's a Scorpio, great mothers. They're very dedicated. They're very smart. When they set their mind on something, they're laser focused. And the shadow side of Scorpio is it's been said that Scorpios will manipulate anybody that lets them. So Scorpios are very their co-ruler is Pluto, so their ruling planet is Mars, but their co-ruling planet is Pluto. So they have to be in control of a situation. If they're not in control, they get very uncomfortable.
Wow.
And
I heard they're very controlling. Like that's the theme of
if they're not in control, it's like it's the most important thing for them. And they are fixed water, so that would be like ice. You know, like they have the ability to be like ice cold in situations, which can be a very beneficial thing sometimes, but also can be a detriment.
Yeah.
And then you've got Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a mutable fire sign ruled by Jupiter. And its symbol is the oh my god,
the
what
horse.
Is that thing called?
It's the guy on the horse.
It's not Pegasus, Centaur. What the fuck is that thing?
It's
called?
Basically the guy with the arrow.
Oh
the
my
guy with
god,
the arrow.
the archer.
The archer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
start over. Yeah.
Start over.
If you want, yeah.
Okay, so Sagittarius is the fixed. Oh, I'm sorry. Sagittarius is a mutable fire sign ruled by Jupiter, and its character is the archer. So Sagittarius is very smart. They're great teachers. They're the best teachers. They're very they're great communicators. They're great at communicating ideas and big concepts. They're the opposite of Gemini. Gemini is very much about the details. Sagittarius is about the larger concepts in life, like the more pressing issues of life. So the shadow side of Sagittarius is they're known to be egotistical. They're known to be very critical, and they love to argue. Sagittarius, it's like a sport. They love to argue, but they're arguing. No, it's a sport. Like sometimes it's to get a point across, but it's almost like they're sharpening their arrows.
That makes sense.
And then they're also another shadow of Sagittarius is that they are known for being for cheaters. They're known as being the cheaters and players.
I
of the
heard
zodiac.
somewhere it was like the Don Juan. Literally, was the first sentence in this one book I was reading. It's like, if you're looking for a husband, look elsewhere. And it was like this sign is known to be like the Don Juan of the zodiac.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, they're players.
And I was like, wow, I see that. I've seen that. Yeah.
And then we've got Capricorn. Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign, the first sign of winter. It's ruled by Saturn, and its symbol is the goat. So Capricorn are very dedicated. They're the hardest workers. They are great at setting goals and accomplishing goals. One thing I've noticed about every Capricorn I know, they love plants and they love to dance. So Capricorn, my sister's a Capricorn. So Capricorn's motto would be work hard, play harder. So Capricorn they work hard, but they love to party. They love to go out and dance.
They enjoy life. That's good.
They enjoy life, yeah. They got that balance. Yeah. The shadow side of Capricorn would be narcissism, because they can be very desire based. It's the tarot card that Capricorn rules is the devil card. Oh, wow. Because the devil card is very interesting. It says a lot about like life in general, but
it's also very interesting that it's all connected to like tarot has like a certain card that represents the sign, and also with the Chinese astrology that you were talking about, right? Like it's crazy how they're all connected to those, Great
point. All like the esoteric practices, they're all saying the same thing too. Yeah. Even mythology, Greek and Roman mythology, tarot, and astrology, they're all practices about the archetypes of humanity. So it's a way for us to understand the archetypes. The archetypes are the characteristics, like the innate characteristics of people. So it's like the hard wiring of people.
Wow.
So the archetypes. Yeah, tarot is a practice in often in psychology programs in universities. They give the professor will give the student tarot cards for them to understand the archetypes of humanity better.
So actually, that's a great way of explaining how astrology is to people, like to those that don't know. It's like it's the archetype of the person in a way. It's the hard wiring. It's the Yes. Yeah.
Science. It's a like cosmological science of the archetypes of humanity. So it's like
love that.
It's like, how are the planets and stars shaping the archetypes? Yeah, that was a great observation. And I
heard that Capricorns are workaholics too.
Yes.
And they're very they live a lot for the future. Like they're always like legacy is like really important for them. They're always like thinking like 10 steps ahead, right? Like
absolutely.
Overworking, like just saving, like they're very responsible.
Yeah, it's like the goat. The goat's always trying to get to the top of the mountain, and it will do anything it can to get to the top of the mountain. So the devil card is very interesting because you have the two people naked with the chain around their neck.
It's also the attachment card. In the tarot, it represents attachment.
It's the desires. So it's our attachment to desires, absolutely. Yeah. And the desires are basically I think the desires are the reason that we incarnate into these lives, because the the devil card, you've got the people with the chain around their neck. It's loose though; they can take it off and leave. They're chained to the devil's throne. They can take the chains off and leave, but they don't because they're indulging in the desires of life.
Wow,
so
that's true.
It's it says a lot about life. It's a very, very deep card, and it's but I think the desires are here for us to encounter them, to taste them, and then to move past them. And I think it's all here to get us closer to God, like the desires, because they're like, this is like boot camp for our soul, like this physical incarnation, and we have all these obstacles that we need to go through. And the more we get through these obstacles and handle them with grace, the closer we get to God. It's like an obstacle course with God at the top end of the course. Like if we can navigate through it, and like it's not supposed to be easy. Like people that want like an easy like life with no issues, it's like, come on, that's not the point. The point is it sounds crazy, but the point is like no pain, no gain, right? It's
That's
like
so
we shouldn't
true.
seek it out, but chances are we're all going 100% we're all going to experience pain and obstacles in life. And it's
Very
like
true.
boot camp for the soul. So if a soldier goes to boot camp and he sits in the hotel room and eats Uber Eats and watches Netflix all day, he's not going to gain anything. He's going to have no benefit from the training, from the boot camp. The point is to go out, get our ass kicked, and to like experience the struggles, taste the desires, move past them, and hopefully end goal God realization.
Yeah, that's
But
amazing. That's
self
beautiful.
realization before God realization, and self realization can only come with experiencing the struggles and growing through them. It's the
That's
only.
a whole other podcast that we could talk about because I love these are my favorite topics to talk about. And then the last sign is Aquarius.
Oh yeah,
right?
we got two more. We got okay. So Aquarius is also ruled by Saturn. It's a fixed air sign, and its symbol is the water bearer. So the part of the sky Aquarius is in, it's all the water. It's all the water signs right next to Pisces,
Mm,
and it's near a constellation Cetus or a star Cetus, which
okay.
is means like the whale. So it's in a very aquatic area of the sky.
A
And
lot of people think it's a water sign, actually. Like
yeah,
people that don't really know about, but it's air. It's actually, but it's funny because he's pouring the water out. So I think that's why people think it's a water sign.
I think Aquarius is the water bearer because they hold their emotions. They don't really let them out. So the water bearer is like it's holding the emotions.
Right.
It lets it out very slowly, but it's not
Intentionally, it's not like,
intentionally
yeah.
perfect. So Aquarius, fixed air ruled by Saturn, the water bearer, and they're good qualities. They're extremely unique. They're extremely smart. They are the inventors of the zodiac. So they're the very forward thinking, very future thinking. The shadow side of Aquarius is their tendency to detach from reality.
Mm.
Very, very common.
Relationships as well, like everything in life, kind of.
Yes,
Yeah.
they have the ability when things get too hot, they just detach, and that's also one of their
Strong suits,
strong
like that's
suits.
good. We need that, but also, yeah,
They have their they the best paramedics. So in a crisis, they're the best in a crisis because they can just detach. But that's also not good for things like relationships where, difficulty connecting on a deep level
right.
in general. And then you've got Pisces, which is ruled. Pisces is a mutable water sign ruled by Jupiter, co-ruler of Neptune, modern ruler of Neptune, and its symbol is the fish. So Pisces is known as the most spiritual sign. They're the most likely to join a missionary and like help spread the word of God. Like they're very
Yeah.
much about spiritual service. Virgo's about practical service. Are on the same axis. I call it
Yeah.
the axis of service. Virgo's very much about let me help you organize your life.
Right.
Let me help you.
In the material level, like how can I help you solve this problem, like, or like you said, organize your house or whatever, like. And then I feel like Pisces is more on a spiritual emotional level, like they're there for you emotionally. Like every time if I'm going through, I used to have a really good friend of mine who was a Pisces, and I would tell her these stories about my past, and she would literally cry with me, like she could just like feel like she would, like it was her. And I love that. It really comforts, it's very comforting and supportive to people. I feel like they have that quality of like emotionally like creating that safe space for people.
Yeah, like holding
being
that
there, holding
holding space. That's
Yeah.
like was I think had to have been coined by a Pisces.
Yeah.
Great, very emotional, very creative. They're a great artist generally. Pisces need an escape. Pisces because they feel emotion so intensely that the world can be very overwhelming for Pisces. Like this sad Pisces. Kurt Cobain was a Pisces, and he said something like, "Oh, I'm just a sad Pisces." Pisces are very they need an escape. So often Pisces will excuse me, they have to be completely lost in something. So usually it's either art, drugs or alcohol, or service, or you'll see Pisces just so dedicated to their work. Like they'll either be very dedicated to their work, drug addicts, amazing artists.
It could be good or bad.
or
but they're in it. They're in
or
it.
missionary, like just service. Yeah, they're very deep sign. The deepest of all the signs, and it's the last sign of the zodiac. So, yeah, it's a good take on.
So
the
I know
12.
like the Aries is the beginning, and also Aries, the first sign, represents the baby. So I feel like they have I don't want to say selfish, but like that selfish tendency. It's like a baby can only kind of think about themselves and like what's in front of them in a way. It's like you're born, like you said, the beginning. And then Pisces, it's like it can get really deep and kind of extend itself outward and like help other people. You know what I mean? It's outside of itself.
Yes.
So it's interesting how like it starts and then it ends. And would you say Pisces is the most evolved sign
yes.
out of the zodiac?
Yeah. The most complex, complicated, 100% the most. Well, if they are in the light, the most evolved. But if they're not in the light, usually a complete wreck.
Who's a Pisces? Tony Robbins is a Pisces.
Really?
Robbins, yeah.
Wow.
And he's the evolved version, right? Like he's
yes.
just like helping. Like his whole life is dedicated to helping people.
Mm-hmm.
And you see him like crying, like when he hears the stories on stage and stuff. So it's interesting.
And it's ruled by Jupiter. He's very Jupiterian. Its real ruler is Jupiter, co-ruler of Neptune. Jupiter is very expansive energy. So Jupiter, Sagittarius, and some Pisces, like in Tony Robbins, larger than life. Pisces is Jupiter is the planet of expansion. They go big. So, and he's like a big dude and very out there.
Loud. But yeah. That's true. So I think a lot of people want to know about compatibility. How does astrology affect our energies when it comes to compatibility with people?
It's everything. It's so important. So there's two ways of determining compatibility. You've got synastry and composite chart. The synastry is when you overlap two people's charts and you see how each person's energy field really is like what we're talking about, how each person's blueprint affects the other person's blueprint. And then you can switch them and you can see how the other person affects the other person. So, and then composite is when you take the midpoints of two charts. And so, for instance, if somebody is a Scorpio sun and a Virgo sun, the midpoint would be Libra. Their midpoint sun would be Libra because that's the sign in between.
Okay.
So you do that for all the planets, and you get a chart that determines the energy of the relationship. So it's how the unit functions.
So in order to figure that out, do you need their exact birth date and year and time and everything, or can you just do it with the date, like their birthday?
Yeah, the time is very important because then you get the house. You get the houses involved. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, very important to have the time. You can do it without the time, but you just ignore the houses. So then you would just look at what signs the planets are in, and also look at the aspects the planets are to each other.
So what are some what are the top, let's say, 3 most compatible signs in the zodiac? Just like off the top of your head.
Ooh.
And then
that's a good one.
I know that I heard Sag and Aquarian are like the number one, actually, like out of all of the zodiacs, like they're the most compatible.
Yeah, that makes sense because they love their freedom.
Yeah,
that would be so interesting though. Like a couple that just
I actually know I have a friend that is a triple Sag girl, and my guy friend who's an Aquarius, Virgo moon actually. And they're married.
I mean, that's like the open relationship combination. That's I don't know.
I feel like they're not.
I don't know what their story is, but I mean that's the quintessential like open relationship combination. So that's a good question. I like that.
I know Gemini Aries is really
Gemini Libra, great match.
Gemini Libra
and Gemini Aries, great match. The other, I would say Taurus and Cancer, fantastic match. And then let's see what else we got. Let's go around the wheel here.
I would say another one Aries Scorpio can actually be
Aries Scorpio,
really good.
both ruled by Mars. Yeah, it's interesting because they're in a very difficult coordination, but they have the same ruler, so they're going to be great friends. Definitely friends first, and will be friends probably even after the relationship.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And then the Cancer Scorpio, great match.
I did hear. Yeah, I heard a lot about that. Cancer Scorpio. Also, I heard Scorpio Capricorn.
Yes, great match.
Scorpio
Great
Capricorn.
match. That's because so you said Aries, Gemini, Cancer, Capricorn. These signs are sextile from each other, so 60 degrees apart. So that's the best, one of the most harmonious aspects. So that means that it's a Venus ruled aspect. A lot of harmony and understanding in the signs. So any sign that's 2 signs away from you is going to be a great match, either direction.
Okay.
So for Aries, their best match is Gemini and Aquarius.
Aquarius. Okay.
And then other is Leo and Sagittarius.
Okay.
Great matches for Aries.
So 2 signs away.
2 signs away.
Oh, ahead or behind?
Ahead or behind. It's a sextile, 60 degrees apart, a Venus-ruled aspect. Great compatibility. And then the worst matches for Aries, you would go to the squares. So the squares to Aries is Libra and Capricorn.
Okay.
So it's a Mars-ruled aspect of squares. There's a lot of tension. Like they're in the same mode. They're both cardinal signs. All cardinal signs, but there's a lot of tension. It's like I equate to squares. It's like a family. You know the person, like you're very familiar energy, but there's a lot of like arguing and like fighting.
Also, I feel like the rising and the moon are very important, or like the rest of the natal chart is important.
Oh yes.
And then another part of it is like so, would you say, as far as like if you're not compatible, how do you feel about like 2 non-compatible people, astrologically speaking, coming together? Do you feel like that's like a positive? Because I know there could be a lot of growth in that, but it would be like there would be a lot of growth in it, but there would also be challenges, and then there's like the easy relationship that doesn't have any difficulty, and it just would be peaceful. But would it push you to evolve?
Great for masochists. If somebody's a masochist, perfect. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of value in being put in situations that are not comfortable because we grow more. But then it's like how much disharmony do we want, basically?
Yeah,
but then
long-term.
But even if the suns aren't compatible, like you said, you've got the moon, the rising, the Venus sign. So say somebody is a Scorpio sun and Gemini sun, very bad match. Scorpio Gemini, probably the worst match in the zodiac. 100%, so different. But say the person has one of the people has a Scorpio moon or a Gemini moon, whichever one. Say the Gemini has a Scorpio moon or the Scorpio has a Gemini moon. There's a possibility that it could be the best match.
Oh, okay.
Not the best match in the zodiac, but the best match these people ever meet if their other planets are in a line. Yeah. So you want me to go through and just do a quick rundown of the best and worst for each sign?
Yeah, like simple. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so Taurus, best match Cancer, other best match Pisces, other best match Capricorn and Virgo.
Actually, I feel like the easiest way to explain the compatibility in the way that when I first learned about it, I felt like it was really easy for me to understand, would be like the elements. So it'd be air, water, fire, and earth, right?
Yes.
And how air and fire are complementary to each other usually because air feeds and expands fire. Fire has space to like grow. They kind of like are good. And then water and earth are good because water nourishes the earth. It softens the earth. So in that way, they are compatible. And I also heard like if they're the same element, there's also possible compatibility. And then if they're like water and earth, in that those elements would be compatible. And like fire and fire are compatible, and then fire and earth are compatible for the most part. But they could all kind of like obviously mix and match if these other planets are aligned in some way. The other like moon or like other planets in the chart.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good way to simplify it. So Yeah. So the other, you want to talk about the other planets, or do you want to go through and should we do a quick go through of all the signs?
Not
What do you think?
too much time. Like 20 minutes left.
Okay, so let's talk about the markers outside the sun sign for a healthy relationship, for a compatible relationship.
Okay.
So you've got Venus and Mars, which are very important, and the Moon, very important in relationships. The rising is important too, but not as much as the Moon, Venus, and Mars. So for a man's Venus is going to be, so the Venus sign in a man's chart is going to be the type of woman he's most attracted to. And then the Mars in a woman's chart is the type of man that she's most attracted to. So it's going to be, it's like the ideal. So a man's Venus is like his ideal woman, and a woman's
the sign
yeah,
of their Venus.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the sign that a man's Venus is in is going to be his ideal woman, and the sign that a woman's Mars is in is going to be
the ideal man.
The ideal man, but also a man's Mars, like my Mars is in Virgo. All my favorite comedians are Virgo. My best friend's Virgo. And so it also shows what you appreciate in the same sex that you are. So it's like, so for friends, celebrities, comedians. Yeah, and then the moon sign is very important. So how the moon comes in is that if say you have an Aries sun, a guy is Aries sun, Leo moon. Then you have a woman that is a Sagittarius sun, Aries moon, very important. So a woman's moon, if a woman's moon matches a guy's sun, great match, because the moon is the feminine energy and the sun is the masculine energy. The sun puts out the light, the moon receives the light.
The moon and the sun. And then could it work vice versa? Like the moon with the sun? The man's moon with the woman's sun, or no? It's usually the woman's moon.
It's definitely a connection. It might be. Yeah, it depends.
Interesting.
Let me think.
Is it because women represent, like I study Kabbalah, and in Kabbalah, the moon, feminine energy is represented by the moon because it's a giving and receiving force, and then the male masculine energy is the sun, which is just like a giving. It's the giving energy.
Yes.
It's just like the sun. So it's masculine and the moon is feminine. Is that also how it is in what you're talking about?
100%. The sun gives the light and the moon receives it and it reflects it. So yeah.
Well, do you feel like if somebody's very spiritually elevated, or like very, like, let's say in this life, they're just like really dedicated to their spiritual growth, could they outgrow and evolve their zodiacs,
100%.
planets, like
especially the shadow stuff.
Because I've seen a lot of very spiritually elevated people and like their relationships. Like you said, I know like Gemini, Scorpio, which is like the worst match, and they, they've created so much together. They like long-term relationship. Like, do you feel like if they're evolved enough, they could make it work even if it's not technically compatible, or do you feel like kind of it's,
I think that, so my dad was extremely evolved, extremely spiritually evolved. I never saw any of the shadow elements in his chart.
Right. Okay.
And I think you're right. I think that this is regarding this is mostly about our mind and our consciousness. So if we elevate our consciousness, if we find God realization, we've kind of like elevated above this physical realm. This is all about like what we're doing in this physical realm.
True. Yeah.
So there are points in the astrology that talk about our spiritual nature, but mostly what we're talking about is like what's going on down here on Earth.
Okay.
So yeah, I 100% think that, seeing my dad as an example, that when we evolve spiritually, we can 100% move past, like kind of get above the astrology.
The astrology.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. It's Amazing. So how do you think astrology can help us understand why we attract certain people into our life?
Well, it's basically the science of humanity. So it shows who we're attracted to and who we attract. And it can really, I don't use astrology like the signs I don't get along with. I'm not like, I'm not going to associate with these people, although maybe, I don't use it as like a way to navigate through life. I use it observationally. So like if there's a sign, there's one sign, I don't know, two signs that are really not good matches for me, but I would never write these people off, So,
Right.
but it is a really good way to show who we can connect with easier and who we have more trouble connecting
Right.
with. So that's the best way to use it. That's the best way to describe that, as it shows who our ability to connect and our lack of ability to connect.
So I also think it's interesting that, like, for example, you mentioned you dated 3 Aries back to back.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point in my life where I dated like 2 Leos, same birthday, back to back.
Wow. You're rising too.
Yeah.
My rising's Aries.
Yeah, so interesting.
Cool.
So I also feel like there's that, like, a certain lesson that we need to learn in that zodiac, and that's why we're kind of like continuing to attract it. And whatever lesson, for example, I was going through with the 2 Leos, it was like I had to like kind of learn that lesson in those relationships, and then I evolved into a, like, I think the one after was Pisces, which was great. And so that was more compatible. Like I feel like I have like very challenging back to back like certain zodiac signs, and then I'll have like an easy one, and then I'll go back to like the last 2, like over the past few years, was like doubles. I think they both had the same, I don't know, I don't think they had the same birthday, but both Sag back to back again.
A lot of tension.
Yeah.
Before I go Sag.
So I feel like, yeah. So I feel like the signs that we attract during that time is like the lesson that we need to learn for ourselves in order to evolve.
Yeah.
So it's a good way when you look, like you were talking about, watching the patterns in our life, and like when you learn more about astrology, you can kind of see them better. And if you can get like the lesson and like, for example, the qualities as an example of a certain sign that you're attracting, you can kind of understand what lessons are there for you.
Yeah,
the challenges.
I always seem to get like intensive deep dives into each sign. So I was in my first 2 serious girlfriends were Leos, born August 7th, August 8th, women I lived with in Colorado. And then 3 Aries back to back to back, then 2 Libras born October 6th and October 5th. So yeah, and then in New York, I told you I had surrounded by Aquarius. So I have times every part of my life I'm like inundated with one sign. Lately it's been Capricorns. I've had so many Capricorns in my life. Friends, lovers, exes. It's like so interesting. Yeah, and I think you're right. I think we attract them into our life at a specific time, like you said, so we can learn lessons that we're going through in that life. And it kind of makes sense because, that's just how the universe works. Like whatever we need, we're presented with.
Yeah.
And then back to the question previous, it was kind of about like how we can use astrology and what its like practical benefits are. The greatest thing that I've gotten from astrology is that it's proven predestiny to me. Because when I look at my chart and other people's charts, it shows that everything is written before we even come into this life. Because the astrology chart was here. Like we can put a chart for like 20 years, exact location.
Oh, wow.
Somebody's most likely will be born very close to that time or right on the dot.
Wow.
So, and our life path is clearly predestined because there's decisions that I thought were made out of my free will, and the conclusion is in the chart. Wow. And then there were things that branched off from that conclusion that I thought made a decision, took me somewhere else. That's in the chart.
That's in the chart as well.
Everything's in the chart. Everything's in the chart. So it's like it proves predestiny, and that was a huge realization that I've gotten through astrology. Because when you believe, I believe in God. I believe everything is God's will, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's all here to teach us, and eventually.
But even our choices are God's will, so that's why I feel like the free will, it's you do and you don't. But also, it's like that is your destiny. Then God already knows that you're going to choose what you're going to choose, if that makes sense.
Oh
Does
yeah,
that make sense?
yeah, 100%.
So it's like, yeah, you do have the free will, but it's still part of your destiny.
Yeah,
it's still like your destiny.
It's like we feel like we're choosing.
God knows everything, like
God knows, yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. So that's one really very powerful thing that it's given me. And then the other thing is it shows us we can get such a deep, objective look at ourselves because we're reading these astrology books, and each thing is like 1 out of 12 people are every sign. 1 out of 12 people. So the aspects, often you have 1 out of whatever 14 divided by 360 divided by 14, whatever, that's too complicated. But the point is that there's so many people experiencing exactly what we're experiencing. So it's not like it's a very objective look at some of our like deepest, most habitual behaviors that often we weren't even aware of until we see it through an astrological lens, and we're reading it, we're like, holy shit, I've been doing this my whole life. And getting the same exact results they're saying. So you get a really deep, clear view of our inner workings through astrology. The other thing, which I think is equally as important, is it shows us how other people operate and other people's wiring. So, for instance, things that used to piss me off about people were, I learned about astrology and I realized this is how they're wired.
Right.
And I'm like, now that things that used to bother me about people, I love about them because I'm like, these are their little quirks. These are their differences and it's so interesting. So it gives us a clear perspective on ourselves and other people, and it makes us accept others and love others. Love and tolerance. That's such an important part of humanity. It makes us love, tolerate, but accept, but also appreciate the things, the little idiosyncrasies that maybe at one point used to drive us crazy. And now we're like, we can laugh and be like, oh, they're doing this because they're a Scorpio, like, or they're doing this because this is how the Scorpio.
It's just how they.
Very difficult sign for Gemini.
Yeah.
So it's like these little things. It's like, oh, they're doing this because that's how they're wired, and it becomes from like being like annoying to cute, and you're like, oh, this is what they're doing. It doesn't mean you should let anybody ever walk all over you or do anything,
or anything.
But it's a way to observe it and to make it to take the weight out of it,
Yeah.
And back to the predestiny thing, it's very important because it shows how predestiny and reincarnation. Well, we'll talk about reincarnation. What was I say about predestiny?
It like how everything is. It's already,
So one of the most important things I've experienced with predestiny is that it shows us that I believe everything is God's will, the good, the bad, the ugly. It shows us that it takes kind of the pressure off of life because it shows that like I don't have to try to control everything, and that everything is going to happen however way God planned it. So it takes a lot of the pressure off of life. It's not to say I should sit back and not do anything. There's that saying, faith without works is dead, which means that we should have faith, but we need to put the action in to create our destiny.
Right.
Or to shape our destiny.